Okay. So first let's go over the solution which Subramaniam has given. So let me create a folder now. Let me create a folder. Okay. The folder will be assignment Subramaniam. Okay, and I will be putting for everyone. I'll be putting in new folder. Let's do it for topics. Okay, let's copy. First, I'll copy whatever we have here. Okay, and I'll rename this to topic.js. Right now it's using the local storage, but I'll replace the code which Subramaniam has given. Let's change home to assign subtopics. Topic. I will assign it to this. Let's see if it is working with the current condition. So let's see how it works with the local storage. So here we have local storage, which is working fine. Okay, so let's replace with what what Subramaniam has given. I will delete all the commented code. We don't need it, and then we'll discuss if things are going right or wrong. Okay, let's go to, also I will copy the topic part and put it in the topic. So everyone can customize its own uh, data. So this is topics. I will rename it to topics_Subramaniam, so we can have a separate data for him. Also in the add topic, when I'm trying to add, instead of topics we'll say topics Subramaniam SUB. Okay, so we'll get fresh data every time. You can put your name also. So now you will not see anything because Subramaniam has no data. I will try to put it. Okay, here it is changed. Let's put it. Okay, so I put, see, as soon as I put it, you see a lot of errors are coming. So that means code is not correct. Something is missing or something is not doing correctly. Okay, so now let's discuss each line and try to see what mistake he has done. Before we go to topics part, we'll see whether add topic is right or wrong. First thing, use effect is not used, so we don't even call it here. Here we have input box. As soon as we submit button, we call the handle submit, and in the handle submit we create one object which we have to pass to the backend with some reference. Whatever reference you want, you can put it, but while get call also you have to use the same reference. So reference is up to you, whatever you want to pass. Then the topic, which topic you want to pass. So this part is correct. We don't need to use let because we are not changing it, so const is fine. Also, when the key and value is same, we can keep the key only, so key and value will become same. Next is, he's calling await with the fetch one. So this URL is correct, method is correct, headers is correct, and the body he is doing JSON.stringy for this, so this part is also correct. Then he is getting rest.json, which is correct, and then he is getting response, which is also correct. But this part is not totally correct. There is some problem in this part, which we will discuss in a minute. We'll discuss soon why this is wrong. Right? Let's go to topic and try to see what he is trying to do here. Here, use effect is called. Let's delete this commented code. We don't need commented code. So he's checking if topics exist. If topic exists, then only he is calling the handle page. Why? Question is why you're calling only if checking the topics is there. Why not without checking it? Question is this one. My question is why you are checking if condition and then calling handle page. Why this if condition is there? So you are saying if we don't have data, you don't need to call. And this data is updated, when the page will load, we need to call this one because how will you know that database has the data? How will you know the database has data? So you should call or not. Let's say database has some data, you should call. This one is the initial state, right? So this will only be updated when you have some data. How will you know there's no data? So you should not call fetch. Once you will call fetch, then only you will know data is there on the server or not. Are you getting me? So this data comes from the server. If you are not calling data, how will you know data is there on the server? First you have to call this and see if data is there on the server or not. But anyhow, this topics will always be true because this topics is empty array. Empty array means there is something is there. So this part will always be true. It will never be false. So this if condition is useless. Okay, let me put this handle page above the use effect. Though it will work because both are in the memories, though it will work, but let's put it here. Now you are setting the topics. If you are getting this result, then records, and then results, this results will also be always there. Okay, so this results will be always an empty array or this. So this is fine. I'm fine with this one. But what if error is there? Then it will go to catch block, which is not taken care of, right? So catch block is not taken care of with this one. Okay, so that part I'm okay for now. We will see only the good use case here. So you are getting the response, then you're getting the records, and then you're getting the results, which you are putting in the set topics. So topics is giving me some response. Okay, let's see now what's going on. Okay, so we are getting the topics here. This is the topics we are getting. See, we are getting these topics. So you are putting the whole object in this set topics. So that means topics will be the array of objects. Okay, since topics will be array of objects, so topics has dot topic. So when we do in the results page, we have to say item dot topic to show the result. We don't need all this information to display. We will only display the topic part. to the user. So let's try to change the results page and see what we are getting it. So previously we were looping through the topics and we were directly putting the record here because we don't have object, we were having the string. Here we have the object, so we have to put record.topic, which we are getting it. And here we have record.object ID as a unique key, so we can use that object key. So we are getting the one result, that is test. I can add more. If I click submit, there will be error because this is not taken care of properly. See, we are getting this one, but at least now we're getting two topics. One is test and second is mango. Okay, so we are getting this get part is working fine now, which you have written. Only thing the change we did in the results page. So this get part is working fine. Once you are getting the results, you are putting in the results. We are putting in the set topics. I will go through it again. I will do it again after I go through his file. And you're calling this handle page here. You're calling this handle page here, which you're calling in the useEffect. Okay. So what you have to do? You have to call this handle page. So instead of the add topic, we will pass the handle page because once we add topic, we will call the backend again to fetch the data, which will update the set topics again. So we will, instead of set topics, we will call the handle page, so that after we add the data, we should fetch it again. So once we go to add topic, here I will call the handle page, and once we submit it, when there is a success, I will just call handle page. But if success is not there, I should take care of that part also, which we have not done it here, but it's fine for now. So after the success is there, that means addition is successful. We'll call the handle page, which will take care of all this setting in the topics part. Let's try to do this again. I will put apple. I'll click submit. Once I click submit, it calls the backend again to get the new data. Let's call strawberry or whatever it is. So I'm getting the new data again. Though this is not disappearing, which we should also handle it. Okay. So these are the few problems in the code. Because of that, it was not working. Now it's working fine. And once we're getting success response, we're showing the topic. So let me do it quickly. Though I will take the code from him only, and I will go through it again to explain the whole thing again. So previously we have local storage, which I will delete it in topic 3. Okay, we don't want local storage. Okay, and in the topic 3, let me call from the home page topic 3. Okay, so we are not calling topic 3, which is taking from the local storage now. Let's remove that local storage part. Okay, so now we are not getting anything from local storage. So in the topic 3, we will fetch the data from the server. To fetch the data from the server, we'll write a one function, get data, for example. You can name it anything. Now, whenever this component will load, this get data will get the new copy of the function. What should I write here so that I should not get the new copy of the function? I should get the cache version of that function. What is the what is the hook which we should use, which can give me the cache function, not the new copy every time.
useEffect.
useEffect is here. Here I'm saying this function is now every time when this component will render, we'll get the new copy of this function. I don't want to use the new copy of function. I want the cached version.
We can have a previous state in argument like that.
Yeah, that is different. I'm asking the cached version of this function. So what is a hook which is given by React company, React people, so that I can cache the function? I should not call it again and again. So when this component will re-render, I will get a new copy of this function. I don't want to use a new copy.
useMemo, I think.
useMemo saves the result of the function, not the function definition. What is the hook which we can use to cache the function, the whole function part? Okay, you think I'll give you 5 minutes. By the time I will fill this function. So this function should get the data from the server. I will use the async here. Whenever you use async, you have to use the try catch block. And whenever you get error, you should have some state which will track the error. So we should have some, some error tracking so that I can display the error to the user. So whenever the error is there, I will use the set error, and I will say error.message. Okay, so this is the common thing which we will be using everywhere. And if error is there, I will display the error to the user. Okay, so this we are displaying the error to the user if some error is coming. Here we will use a fetch kind of thing. So first I will put it in some variable and I will say await page. In the page we have to put the URL. What URL? I will get it from his file. Okay, so we have to call this URL. Here I will call my reference so that I know that this is called by me only. Okay, so we paste it. Then there will be constant. This is response. This is a result. Is equal to await response.json. So whatever this will, it will show response.json. Let's see what result we are getting. So we have to call this function also. Okay, I created this function. I have to call it. Let's call this function inside the useEffect. Since I'm using this function, I should pass as a dependency here. And since I am passing here as a dependency, you see the red line is coming here. To avoid this red line, we have to use one of the hooks. But let's remove it for now. I will add it in a minute. Okay, so let's refresh the page. You will see I'm getting the result with the success true, and we're getting the records and the results. Right now, I don't have any data in the database for this reference, so I'm getting empty results. So once we get these results, we will update the set topics to that one. Set topics will be results records dot results. So this result is this result, and then I get a record from here from the backend, and then I'm getting the results. which is this one. I can put the question mark to see if there is data, then only I will get it. And when there is error, I can display the error like this. Let's see if we have error, how it looks like. So for example, I will pass to bad file to see the error. Now you'll see I'm getting the error unexpected. This because we don't get a proper file name. There's error coming from the backend, and it is going to the error part, and we're setting the error and displaying the error here. And we're getting error here. So let's make it now normal. So here we are getting from the backend this proper results, which is empty array, and we are setting the set topics to empty array. We say topics value is empty. Any questions on this one? Any question on get data? We'll go to add one now after this one. This is something we are fetching from the server, and once we get it, we are setting the topics what we are getting from the server. Now let me remove the error part. I don't need it to show. Now I told you to cache this data. Since use effect, we should always pass the get data in the dependency, because this is the dependent. Whatever inside is used, and if that inside function or so now what we are getting this red mark, you see. So to prevent this, we should cache this function. So to cache function, we have one hook which is called as react.useCallback. So useCallback is the function which we can use in here to cache this function. So we are putting this function here, and here we have dependencies here. So what dependency it is taking? The set topics it is taking, right? Set topics. So let's pass the set topics here. Any other dependency we are getting it? We are not getting dependency, right? Okay. Because we are using set topics, and the set topics is here. So we should pass this set topics as a dependency. Let's refresh the page now. Okay, so we are getting empty topics here, and we are putting in the callback. So always remember, whenever you have any function here which goes into the use effect or any other file, we have to use the use callback. If I use the use callback, whatever function I have written is cached kind of thing. So second time when the component will load, it will take the cache value. It will not create the new function. Here, if I don't use the callback, then every time the component loads, it will take the new copy of this function, and then it will re-render this component again and again wherever we are using this get data. I hope it is clear to you. And if you have a question on this, you can ask me separately. Okay, now let's go to the add topic and try to add the topic. So once user will submit the data, okay, user will submit the data, I have to call the backend add topic, which I will take it from here, and I will modify a little bit with this function. Okay, I will modify this function. So once user will try to submit it, let's put this also async, so that I can call the await part. I create one object, and this object will have reference whatever you want to keep. I will keep my name, and the topic is nothing but what user has put the topic here. And then I call this backend API with await. Whenever you use await, you don't need to go to then. Then is used when you don't want to use await. Okay. So whenever you're using await, you have to put it in some variable, and then result or should be await of response or this one. So you're using then also, and you're using await to the page, which is two times doing same thing kind of thing. So that is not the good idea. Either use await or use dot then. Either of it you can use it. So first statement is you use the page part and then you get the JSON. And if success is there, you call the handle page. We can put if response is coming, it will always be success. Otherwise, it will go into the error part. So if we don't check it, then also it's fine. Okay, so we don't need to check kind of thing. I will put only the error part here. So let's put everything in the try catch block. And here I can put another error thing and try to show error separately on this page. But right now I'm doing only console.log. If it is real site, I would have done that one. And let's put everything inside here. So now once we get the result, I know it is success. Otherwise, I would have gone to here. I will empty this set topic is equal to this empty string. This topic should be empty after it is submitted. We don't need this result part because we are not using it right now. So just we say await this.json and then we wait. We'll empty the topic and then we will call this get data part again. So let's pass in the add topic. I will not pass set topics. I will pass the get data because once you just submit the data, I want backend to call again to get the new data from the server. So I will pass this get data here. And once this JSON is done, I will call the get data again here. Okay, so everything is done, then I call the get data here. Let's test the condition again now. So initially we have empty topic, I will call test. Okay, so we are getting error. Let's see what is the, okay. Same thing, results, we are getting the results page. We need to fix the results part as we fixed it here. So let me take the results part from here. The only thing is the problem, same problem, because we are getting now record as an object. So we should update our results also. Let's update the results. Okay, now let's refresh the page. Try to add new topic. So as soon as I put new topic, I call the backend get data again, and we get that now new topic. I can put page 3, and I get the third one. Page 4, I get a new one. So what we did, what we did in the add topic, we created the object, we passed that object here in this fetch call, which uses the method post, and then once we get the response, we just call the get data again, which will fetch the data from the server and show the topics again here on this page. Now question is, do I need to also put this into the use callback? Who will answer this question? Okay, cache part, I'll repeat the cache part. Do we need to use the callback for this also? Why no? Someone is saying no. Why no? If yes, why yes? If no, why no? Yeah, it's adding new data, but then why not to use the callback? Okay. So the thing is that, yeah, so not taking the period data, it's not about that one. If this function is complex, if this function is complex, then we don't want to run all this complex part again and again. So we should use the callback at that time. Okay. This is so simple function, but then also we can use the callback here. But it's up to you how to decide it. You know, if you think that this is too complex, then you can use callback. And if it is very few lines of the code, then no need to put the use callback kind of thing. And since we are not passing this handle submit to any child component or any dependency in the use effect, then it is optional. You can use the use callback or not. It is up to you to decide whether this is too complex and put it into the use callback. And if it is not very complex, then you can leave it as it is. But in this topics one, you cannot create this function without use callback, because here we are passing this function, in the use effect, so definitely we need the use callback. Also we are passing this function to another component, then also we need to use the use callback in this function. So here it is compulsory you have to use the use callback, but in the add topic it is optional. You have to decide. It is up to you. You can add it or not. Is that clear? This point, use callback. Any questions on the use callback? Okay, let me talk about the caching part. So whenever this topic is getting updated, this whole component will re-render again and again. As because this component will re-render again and again, that means that means this will be generating the new copy every time whenever it is re-rendering it. And whenever it will call the new copy, and we are passing this get data here, so that means every time we are passing the new copy to the add topic, so which will load the increased time in the React components. So if we use the use callback, it will not create the new copy of this function. It will return the old copy of the function which is cached in his memory, and this data will not get the new copy of the function. It will get the old copy of the function, and so it will not pass. Though it will pass the get data, but it will pass the old copy. So it will not re-render this add topic again and again, and we are getting the optimization of the components. Any question? So here we have the get data, where we get the data from the server. We call it when the page will load, and when the page will load, we call this get data here. And so, and also we pass the add topic in the get data in the add topic. When I go to add topic, when on handle submit, I call the backend, and we will submit the data to the backend. And then we again call the get data, so that data should be refreshed on our page. We can see the new data without refreshing the page. So we have to call this backend call again, and this will fetch the results from the backend again. Is there any problem in understanding these two things? This is a common scenario in all the projects. Though we will be using Redux, which has some different way to do it, but if we are not using Redux, this is the way which we do. So whenever we call the API on the page load to get the data, we should always put it in the use effect. We could have put all this part inside the use effect, but then I cannot pass this to this new component. Since I want to pass it in the new component, I put it in a function and call that function here in the useEffect. Okay, I will be giving you more assignments on this one as we proceed, and I want everyone to do it. You have to Google it now, how to do the things. You have to research how to call it. I got only one person responding to this assignment. Okay, everybody didn't did the answer. So next time I want the answer from everyone. You should try to see. Think that it is a work in your job. You have to finish the job. You have to show it the results correctly. Okay, so if you should have tested your code, and if you're not getting the code results, you should Google it. Try to find the solution. This is the simplest thing which I give. In future, it will be too complex. Things will become so much complex, and you will be stuck now. So every time you get stuck, just try to Google it. Try to find the answer. Now, what is the difference between use callback and use memo? Can anyone tell me what is the difference between use callback and use memo?
Use callback is used to cache the function definitions, and use memo is kind of cache the complex calculations that we are made in the program, I think.
Right. So, the use memo uh, cache the result of this function. So, if you're returning something in this function, if you're returning something and this is a complex calculation you have, and you're returning the results, so that result will be saved, cached in the use memo. Whereas in the use callback, this function definition will be cached, and it will not be overwriting the previous value of this function. Because whenever we have this function, it is a kind of object. When there is an object, it will create a new copy of this object every time whenever we call this get data. So I don't want to create a new copy every time. So that's the reason I want to cache the things into the memory. So I use the use callback. So I always use callback or use memo. If it is something to save the value of the variable, I use the use memo. And if something is regarding the function which we have to use it every time in other pages also, I use the use callback. Also, there is another concept which is called a memo. So whenever I call the add topic, I should use react.memo, which will which will you know if I use a memo means that means whenever something is changed in the variable, if this variable is changed, then only this add topic will be called. We will talk more about it memo later, not today, but just a high level I'm saying whenever this variable is getting changed, then only the new copy of this component will be created. Otherwise, it will take it the old copy of that add topic. So we will not be able to see this component re-rendering unless this variable is changed. So if variable is changed, then only you will see all the re-rendering happening. And if this variable is not changed, then this re-rendering will not happen. It will take it from the cache and display it there. So maybe those who are learning this first time, they may need time to digest what's happening, what I'm talking about. But as soon as we'll go, I will explain with more with this examples. Though I have done it in past, those who have attended the lecture, they know. But I will be repeating it soon, not today, but in few days. What exactly memo does? I will show you some real example of it. Let me now remove this memo right now because we will talk memo about as a separate exercise and I will show you exactly what memo does. Okay, any questions on how to get the data and how to submit the data? Let's put it in our document. So we have topics 2. Let's add a new one. React.js. Topics 3 using API. So here will be topics.js file. Here will be results.js file. Here will be add topic.js file. Here will be search.js file. So let's take the topic file. And rename it to topic. So in the topic, we are trying to fetch the data here like this, and we are passing this getData function to the add topic. Okay, next is results one. So we did change in the results one. So we did the change. We are now taking the object. Previously it was simple string. Now we are changing to object. Search is same. So we need to keep the search. I will not be working on search for a few more lectures. We'll work on search later, and then is a add topic part. So I want to know whether you understood the concept, how I'm trying to add it, and how I'm trying to retrieve it. Any questions on it, or you understood the things? I want answer from everyone. Many people are not replying. Looks like still you are not getting it. Okay, so the thing is that I will I will ask you to go through this file again and try to see what I'm doing here on this topic page and what I'm trying to do in this add topic. I'll be working more on it again. Okay, use callback, you did not get it. Okay, let me since you did not get the use callback, let me refresh it again, kind of thing. Okay, now I will ask questions on this callback also. Let's say I have component main in React. Okay, I will be asking question now. Okay, so let's dig into this thing again, because this seems to be complicated and you are not getting it. So in a couple of days I will be digging into this topic again. So let's dig into this topic today and tomorrow and after tomorrow also, till you understand all the concepts. Let's say this is my main component. It has a state variable. Or it has the function which will do many things like call API, update state, update other state, many things it will do. And we have the state variable var1, and we have another state variable var2. So when we get the result from the API, it will update the state variable var1 and it will also update the state variable var2. Now tell me what will happen when I update this variable 1. What will happen? Whether this component will re-render it or it will not re-render it.
It will re-render.
It will re-render it. Okay. When it will re-render it, that means this function will also be re-rendering it again and again. It will re-render it. This function will also re-render it. Is it true? It will, yeah, it will re-render it. Now, let's call this function as A. Afunc. I'm putting this function as Afunc. Now, since this function is re-rendering it, and if I'm calling sub child component with this A function as a props, this A function, this is the props going to the child component. Also, this A function is going into child component 2. Also, it is going to child component 3. This same function is going into 1, 2, and 3 components. And since this function is re-rendered 8, that means a new copy of this function is created second time, and new copy will be passed to this, this, and this. Since the new copy is passed to all the child component, whether the child component will also re-render it or it will not re-render it. It will render all the child component. Okay, so this child component will also re-render, this child component 2 will also render this. So that means we are loading time in our application by re-rendering all the child components. If somehow this function would have cached and not re-rendered it, it would have used the cached function, cached value of the function. If my function is using the cached value of the function, it is not re-rendering even if the state is updated. Even if we update the var1 or var2, this function will not re-render because this function is not changing. This function is same. It should not re-render it. So if we are using cached value, and if we are passing the cached value here we are passing the cached value, here we are passing the cached value. So these three components will not re-render because this function is same cached value. These three functions will only re-render if the props which we are passing is something new. It is not the cached version. If it is changed, if we are changing something in this function, then only it will re-render. Now, since we are passing cached value, will child component will re-render or no? Okay, cached means what? Okay, so now I will tell you cached means what. Any other person having question on this part? Do you know, everyone knows what is the cached version of this function, or still they have doubt?
The old storage of that function.
What did you say?
Previous state of the function, like old state.
Yeah, state, forget about, don't say the state.
Storage.
Cached version, because state is confusing with the use state also. So previous version of the function, right? Previous version of the function. Now, since if those who don't understand the cache, I will explain one simple example. If I have one object, which is something like x equal to 1, and if I create one object 2, which is copy of object 1, I do object 1 to object 2. If I try to do if object 1 is equal to object 2, whether I will get true or false. You will get false. You are saying false, right? Let's try to do this one because this is important in understanding the cached version. Let's try to see what we are getting it. Where is the more tools, developer tools? Okay. So let's say if I have var object 1, which is nothing but x equal to 1, and then I have var object 2, which is object 1. Okay, now if I check object 2 is equal to object 1, what we are getting? We're getting true, not false, because object 2 is a copy of object 1. Okay, it will take the reference. So it is same. Object 2 and object 1 is same. What will happen if I check this object 1 is equal to, I will put this object like this, which is same, because the value of object 1 is this. If I put this object, which is exactly same as object 1, and if I try to check this with the object 1, what will I get? True or false? What will get? True or false? Tell me fast. Though you can see here, what will get?
False, false.
False. Why we are getting false? Though
Because it is not cached.
so object, though it is same, we cannot check equal to same, because this object is actually different from this. Though it looks like same in value, but internally objects are different. So if I create same, if I compare with this object, it is different one. So same thing happens with this function. If function is there, and if it will re-render this component, it will compare this function with the previous value of the function, and though it is same function, but it will think that it is a new copy, and it will re-render it again, and the new copy will re-render it again and again whenever this component is called. So whenever there is update of var1 and var2, we will getting the new copy of this function, because function is internally an object. So we will be getting a new function every time. So since we are getting new copy of this function every time, though the function definition is same, like we see the function definition as same, but we will get new copy of it, and whenever I will pass in the child component, it will get a new copy of function, and it will re-render child component again and again. But if we use the callback, then it somehow internally save it, and then it compares with that save part, and it will always give that, okay, this is same. So it will not re-render this function again. It will return the cached value of the function, and then whenever I'm passing this function to child component, it will take the cached version, and this child component will think that it is the same function which we got previously, so it will not re-render it again and again. Are you getting how the use callback is working? So if we are using use callback, it will take the reference of that function, and this all child component will think it is a cached one, so they will not re-render it. And if we are not passing callback, then every time it is a new copy of this function, and child component will re-render it. That's the reason we are using use callback. Is that clear to everyone? Same thing with the useMemo. Okay, so this all thing is object, and we have to, so because this is simple website. In big companies you have very big website with very small child components, and if you don't pay attention to these small things, then you will be increasing the load time for every child component, and your whole React project will suffer. You will think that you are using React, but your site is getting slow, it is not rendering properly, because you are not trying to use this minor things which is needed, like use callback, use memo. These all things are needed to cache the function when we are passing to the child component. There will be hundreds of child components in the real world example. So you have to cache the function which you are passing to the child component. So this is about the child component. Let's talk about any question on this use callback. Then I'll move further to another point. Okay, if you have any question, just ask. Now let's try to do application. What we were doing add topic. I will just go high level and then we'll stop today. And then we have topics. So when we use the Redux save the things in a different places. So though we will not be using callback kind of thing, but this is needed for understanding the React what we are saying. Redux work in a different way, and we put the things in a different places. So don't mix the Redux part with the React part. We are trying to learn React now, which is separate from the Redux. Okay. So now, what you have to do in the add topic, you have to create the form where user will put all the details and user will click the submit button. When user will click the submit button, you have to call the post request to the server to save the data. That's it. Think only these three things when you are adding the topic. Get to the post request to the server to save the data. Now, in the topics, we have to call the API to get the data from the server. So this, whenever you want to call the API on the page load, it should always goes to the useEffect. So we have to put this part in the useEffect. So in the topics, we call the useEffect. In the useEffect, we get the API to get the data from the server. And once we get the data from the server, we save it in some state variable and display it to the user. Though we are passing this API to this add topic, but don't consider that part now. Consider these two things only to understand what we did. We have the form in the add topic, which has submit button. When submit button is clicked, we call the post request to server to save the data to the server. What happened in the topics? We call the useEffect. In the useEffect, we call the API to get the data from the server. Once we get the data from the server, we put it in the state variable, and state variable is used to display the data to the user. Any question on these two things? Only remember these two parts. Any question on this one? So we are trying to understand this React part. So just concentrate on the React part now. Don't think of Redux now, because when we do Redux, we may do differently, but these concepts are there in the React and it may be used at many places. Even if you do Redux, these concepts may be used other than the Redux, some other part which we use on the website. So keep clear on these concepts, and Redux part we will integrate also. But then once we do the Redux part, we may not be able to go through these concepts again, because in some places of Redux we may not use all the concepts. Okay, so for now, just concentrate on the React and try to understand where in the React, try to understand following thing: state variable, props variable, when to call useEffect, 3 ways to call the useEffect. I showed you 3 ways. And then when to call useCallback, when to use memo, and there is also a memo only, when to use the memo. So I told you callback today. All this discussion was callback. We will also talk of useMemo sometime and memo in few days, in few future classes also. So don't worry about these two now. We will be doing it soon. And also we will be doing custom hooks. So you have to build your own hooks. Okay, so this part also will be working soon in few days. So let me, so React part is done for today. If you have any questions, go through it. And if you have any questions, ask me tomorrow. Let's try to do one more thing. Yesterday, what we did. So I did this anagram, and we did the same one also. And here we checked using this one part, right? And we checked with this part. Can we do anagram? Here we try to decrease the, decrease the counting of the letter. Can you do? I will create a new file 03 anagram. I want this anagram in the third one. It should be similar to the same. So you have to use the same function, but you have to try change little bit here. So you have to create two objects and then try to change in the for loop to make it work for anagram also. In this anagram, we only created one object. We didn't create two objects. But what if I create two objects and do in the same way as I did in the same? Only thing I will manipulate this. I don't need this line of the code. Only manipulating this line of the code can I do in the same way. So you have to do in the same way as we did in the same one. Is that clear? Because you have to do this at home. So you have to tell me if you understood this question or not. So you have to do anagram only, but in the same way as we did the same. You have to create two objects and try to manipulate and get the result. Another similar problem you have to do, which will be named as duplicates.js. This one will also use the frequency counter, and I'll tell you the instructions for that one. Let me tell you the instructions. Okay, I don't have it. Okay, so let me put the instructions here in the duplicate. So here we have something called as array. For example, array is having 1, 2, 3. Let's say I put 3 again, and then I put 4, and then I put 5, then I put 6, 7. It may be random number, is not necessary ascending. 6, 6. So here you will see 3 is called 2 times and 6 is also called 2 times. So you have to find the duplicates which are there in this array. Let's say you will say 3 and 6 are duplicates, so you have to return 3 and 6 in the function return. So go through the array and find the duplicates and return the duplicates. So you have to return 3 and 6 in this case. Is that clear? So you have to use the same concept as you have done it here, but here you have to find the duplicates. So there will be some change in this for loop kind of thing where you have to find the duplicates. So this one also I want you to try. Is that clear? Can you do that? Okay, so these two do these two also. Then we are done with the frequency counter. We'll go to the next topic next time. I want everyone to do these two problems. Okay, that's all for today. Any questions?